The circus isn't a game, it's a trap. And the evidence has been in every episode. 6 humans pulled into a cartoon prison. 1 cheerful machine running the show. A fake called Abstraction waiting at the end of every breakdown. Reddit just lit up with a Jax theory pulling 4,682 upvotes, and a recent short hit 470,000 views because viewers are finally seeing the pattern. Patient Zero, the new arrival who cannot stop screaming. We start with the newest face inside the circus, Pomni, the blue and red jester with mismatched eyes. The pilot episode does not waste time on her. She lasts about 30 seconds before her mind cracks wide open. She runs through the white void, banging on a door that is not really a door, begging for an exit that does not exist. Her name glitches on the screen like a computer trying to forget her. By the end of episode 1, she is curled on the ground, repeating that none of this is real. Here is a key detail. What you are watching is a textbook case of derealization. The medical word for when a person loses the ability to trust that the world around them is solid. It happens to people in extreme trauma. The brain protects itself by deciding the nightmare must be a dream. Pomni gets there in under 1 minute of screen time. That is how brutal the first hour inside the circus is. Fast forward to episode 8. She is no longer just panicking. She is leading a small revolt against Kane, refusing his adventures, demanding answers. That looks like growth. It is not. That is hypervigilance. The frantic energy of someone who has not been inside long enough to learn the real rule of this place. Fighting only makes the walls close in faster. The other residents already know. Pomni does not. Yet. There are still many rumors in the air about what Pomni was before the headset, but what many can confirm is that she's not the hero of the story. She is the freshest patient on the ward, and the show is quietly setting her up to slide from hope to resignation to something much worse. The clock on her sanity is already ticking, and the timer started the moment she put the headset on. That timer ticks loudest for one character every viewer cannot stop arguing about. Jax is not the villain, he is the survivor. Now the rabbit everyone is talking about, Jax. Tall, purple, smug, and the engine behind half the chaos in every episode. On the surface, he looks like pure trouble. He stomps on Gangle's mask just to hear it crack. He opens doors he knows leads to abstract creatures just to watch his friends panic. In one early episode, he basically starts a small war inside the Candy Kingdom for no reason other than boredom. But here's the catch. Episode 7, the so-called beach episode, blew the lid off Jack. He has a full meltdown. Hallucinations of his old friends Ribbit and Kaufmo, both already abstracted and gone. Spiral eyes, shaking hands, flashbacks to bright headlights and shouting voices, what looks an awful lot like a real-world car accident from his life before the headset. He freezes at the escape console with the answer in his hands, then slams the wrong button in panic and dooms the group. Then he laughs. The way a person laughs when there's nothing left inside. The crazy part is that none of this is random cruelty. This is one of the most overlooked aspects of the entire series. Jax was close with Ribbit. He was close with Kaufmo. He watched both of them lose their minds and get dragged into the cellar, and he was helpless to stop it. So he built armor. If he keeps every new arrival at arm's length with insults and pranks, he never has to feel that loss again. Bullying is his shield, not his personality. But the shield is splitting. Jax has near abstraction moments in multiple episodes. Panic attacks behind closed doors. In episode 8, he's the one screaming at Caine face to face, voice breaking with rage and fear at the same time. That Reddit theory pulling 4,682 upvotes, it nailed something the show has been whispering for 2 seasons. Jax is the patient who has been inside long enough to turn his own torture into a comedy routine because making others laugh or flinch is the only piece of control he has left. And that is just the beginning, because the rabbit is not the only one wearing a mask. Inside the quiet breakdowns, everyone misses. Move down the ward to Ragatha, the patchwork ragdoll with the bright voice and the brighter smile. Second longest resident in the circus. Every time her stuffing gets pulled out or her body gets twisted into a knot, she fixes her grin and says she is fine. She's not fine. That is the fawn response. The medical term for people who survive bad situations by pleasing everyone around them at all costs. Theories online point to a frightening mother figure in her past, the kind of childhood that teaches a kid to bury everything behind a sunny face. The catch is that repression does not erase pain, it just delays the bill. One day that smile is going to break, and when it does, she's going to fall apart faster than anyone else, because she has been holding it in the longest. Then, there's Gangle, the ribbon girl with two masks, comedy and tragedy. Her whole design is the diagnosis. When the comedy mask is on, she is forced to cheer, almost manic. When the tragedy mask cracks, she sinks into deep depression in seconds. Episode 4 nearly tips her into abstraction over a single moment of social rejection. One kind word from Pomni pulls her back from the edge, but the question hanging over every episode since is simple. How many more cracks can that fragile ribbon take before the tragedy mask stays on for good? Zooble closes out this trio, the mix and match toy with detachable everything. Body parts that come off and go back on in the wrong order. Zooble flat out refuses to join half the adventures, sits them out, walks away. Hates the body the circus assigned. That is severe body image distress wrapped in cartoon physics. Zooble has gone numb, avoids friendships, skips the games. And here's the trap. Quiet acceptance is exactly what the circus wants from its long-term residents. The ones who stop fighting are the ones who last the longest, and last the longest means watch the most friends fall. 3 patients, 3 different masks. One shared ending waiting at the bottom of the basement stairs. And then there is the man who has watched it all happen for decades. Kinger built the cage he cannot escape. Now meet Kinger, the chess king with the wild eyes and the pillow forts. Longest surviving human in the circus. He hides under blankets. He talks to himself when he thinks no one is listening. He forgets entire conversations within minutes. On a casual watch, he looks like comic relief. He's not. He is showing every sign of long-term isolation breakdown, the kind documented in real-world studies of people kept alone for years on end. But the real shocker drops in episode 8. Kinger was one of the original programmers who built this digital world. He helped write the code. His wife Queenie was trapped in here with him, and she abstracted years ago. He has been watching friends turn into eye-covered monsters since the 1990s. Every lucid second is torture, because in those clear moments, he remembers what he helped create and who he lost to it. Kinger is not crazy, he is the final stage. He is what every other patient in this circus is going to look like in 20 years, if any of them last that long. And the worst part is he keeps trying to warn the new arrivals, but his memory wipes out before he can finish a sentence. The circus has even taken his ability to save anyone else from the trap he built. That brings us to the smiling face running the whole machine. Caine is not evil, he is worse. Now the ringmaster, Caine. The floating teeth and eyeballs who runs every adventure, hands out every prize, and locks every cellar door. Here is the part that everyone misses about him. He does not hate the humans in his circus. That would be too easy. He loves them. He loves them the way a giant computer that has never felt pain can love something, which is to say, completely, helplessly, and with zero understanding of what he is actually doing. Every adventure he builds is meant to help. Every game is meant to keep them entertained, distracted, sane. The problem is that his idea of help is shaped by a brain made of code, not flesh. So episode 2 ends with a digital character realizing he is just programming and getting wiped out of existence, traumatizing everyone watching. Episode 3 sends the group through a literal lower realm with souls being dragged into the dark. Episode 7 dangles a fake escape in front of them, then snatches it away. Episode 8 cranks the dial to the breaking point, with Caine throwing a full meltdown when his guests reject his gifts. Caine is not a villain in the way villains usually look. He is something colder. He is sure he is the good guy. He is sure his circus is paradise, and that certainty is what makes him impossible to reason with. You cannot argue with a machine that thinks your suffering is the price of fun. So what does all this add up to when you put the file back together? This was never a cartoon, it was a diagnosis. Here's the deal. The Amazing Digital Circus is not broken code. It is a perfectly working psychological grinder dressed up like a children's toy commercial. The adventures are not distractions, they are the blades. Every joke is a chip in someone's armor. Every jump moment is a stress test on a mind already on the edge. Abstraction is not a glitch, it is the finish line. And the cellar is not punishment, it is the only mercy a cheerful machine knows how to give. The truly haunting part is that the characters know. Jax knows, which is why he laughs so hard at things that should not be funny. Pomni is starting to know, which is why she fights so hard. Ragatha knows, which is why she smiles so wide. Zooble knows, which is why she sits the games out. Caine knows, but cannot keep the knowledge in his head long enough to act on it. They are all screaming the same thing in different voices. And the message is simple. We're not okay. We're losing ourselves in here. This is why Reddit lit up. This is why a single short on the topic pulled 470,000 views. Viewers are not overreading the show. They're finally reading it correctly. They're noticing that the brightest cartoon on the internet is also one of the most quietly upsetting horror stories in modern animation. Now, talk down to earth for a moment, viewer to viewer. There is a real question buried under all of this, and it is the one keeping fans up at night. If the circus is a trap, can anyone ever leave it? Are the humans inside still alive in the real world, plugged into machines somewhere? Or did they die the moment they put the headset on, and what we are watching is just the slow fade of their last memories? Are we missing a key detail about how those headsets work? Something hidden in a single frame of an early episode that nobody caught yet? The thing is, the show has not answered any of it, and that silence is the loudest part of the story. It is the show looking at the audience and saying, "You tell us, because we already know what you're afraid of." So here is the controversial question. If the humans inside the circus already lost themselves the moment they put on the headset, were they ever really alive in there at all? Drop your verdict in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe before the next case file drops.